There are many different reasons why someone would fall away from the Catholic faith. Fallen away Catholics are quite a large number in our world, and or even fallen away from any Protestant denomination. There are many reasons why this will happen, but possibly in summary, the reason why people fall away from the Christian faith is that they don't come to know who the real Jesus is, or they lose sight of the real Jesus, or they lose simply sight of Jesus. They get caught up in all the other, drama of the church. And this is what happens in our gospel. The hometown people are not willing to accept the real Jesus. Jesus led a very quiet life as a carpenter's son, doing manual labor. All of a sudden he shows up with disciples. He's a rabbi, in other words, and he's teaching the people, and they cannot accept this. They're like a rock. They're not willing to absorb anything. Everything just deflects off of their hearts. They're, instead of being like a sponge that absorbs what Jesus is saying and what he is doing. And so really faith and revelation go together. And often in revelation actually encourages faith. When Jesus teaches and when he heals people, he reveals, God's presence in his life, reveals that he is God. And yet the people are not able to come to faith in him, and they're not able to trust him. They think that he's doing something that's scandalous, or that's, he's deceiving them. That's probably a better way to say it. And so they are not open to discovering who Jesus truly is, which is really unfortunate. Now, in our first reading from the prophet Ezekiel, Ezekiel is a prophet among a rebellious people. He has equal challenge to Jesus. God is trying to help people to be aware of their disobedience. If we don't have God as our measuring stick, or have the teachings of Jesus as our measuring stick, we don't know when we're being disobedient. And so God, in God's great initiative, sends the prophet among the people to try to encourage them to become obedient. But Ezekiel is really the image of someone who will start a new community, a people who will be obedient to God. In other words, they will listen to God and follow God's ways, and they will receive God's love and give that to others. Now, Paul also in our second reading has a challenge. He has a thorn. Now, it's actually good that the thorn is not described, because this thorn could be a physical ailment, it could be emotional pain, it could be persecution, it could be misinterpretation, it could be all kinds of different things. And so it helps us as well that we all have different challenges, and my challenges are different to your challenges, and yet there's something in our lives that we cannot overcome, and yet it will make us rely on God's grace more than anything. It could be even a certain relationship. It could be a certain ailment. It could be anything that we struggle with, or that we're challenged with, that we can come to rely on that grace of God. And what a great gift it is to rely on the grace of God, because God will always be willing to act in us, through us, with us, and for us. And what a blessing it is, and that's why we need to lead others to faith, is because Jesus is willing to do so many things in our lives. But if we close ourselves off, then we miss out on these great benefits and graces that our God wants to give us. And so as we gather around the table, Lord, we come to know the humility of Jesus. We come to know the gentleness of Jesus, who Jesus truly is, so that we can accept him, and that we can shine his life and love towards the people that we encounter.